Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Human Design Hotline, where we hang up on doubt and we answer the call within. On today's episode, we are talking about feeling stuck. And so I have a beautiful question from someone called Salvador. Salvador's question is, I've been somehow attached to a dead relationship, trying to get unstuck. At the same time, the fixed lines from my career are now blurred. I'm feeling kind of lost. And there's so much I want to say about this because I think this is something that we all feel from time to time. And I want to just kind of remind you, actually, when we are stuck, it is a good opportunity to become who we say we are. It is a good opportunity for us to put into practice who we want to be, the kind of person we see ourselves becoming. So, Salvador is a manifesting generator. And whenever a manifesting generator or a generator is expressing feelings of wanting to get unstuck or feeling stuck, it is literally your energy. You think about our auras, right? We all have this beautiful aura when we walk into a room. It is a flow of energy that like encompasses your soul. And if it is not flowing, what is happening? It is getting stuck. There is no movement, there is no flow, there is no, that we sort of like miss that magnetism that we're all about. And that is a signal. Those feelings, they are signals towards deeper alignment. They are opportunities, as I said, for you to step into places, relationships, careers, whatever it is, places in your life that feel more aligned. And so we each have our own signal for this. And this is a part of human design that I absolutely love. I am a huge advocate for because it is very practical and it is very easy to spot. This part of human design is what we call the not self theme. And your not self theme in human design is essentially that feeling that you get when you're not yourself. And this shows up when you are putting your energy in places, giving it to people, using it in ways that just doesn't vibe with where your soul wants to go, where your future self is already sitting pretty and vibrating at. And so when we get our not self theme, let's look at what they are for each of the types. So, the not self theme for a generator or a manifesting generator is frustration. For a manifester, it is anger. For a reflector, it is disappointment. And for a projector, it is bitterness. So, when you get that feeling yourself, it is like a signal towards alignment. It is letting you know you're putting your energy somewhere and you need to call it back because this route that you're going, it's not really where your future, the future self or the future version of yourself that you want to get to. It's not what they've used. It's not the path. And so we have an opportunity in that moment, and the awareness to knowing this about myself literally changes the course of my direction daily. It helps me get really clear and feel in so much understanding with what I want and where my soul wants me to go. Rather than, because we often have like this narrative about being stuck, especially for generators and manifesting generators, that it's part of life. That, I'm supposed to feel stuck in life. We're supposed to go through things like this in life. And what happens is we get comfortable with that feeling. That feeling becomes so familiar that we would rather sit with that feeling than jump into the unknown. And so whenever you get that feeling, because you will, it is not something that we eradicate, nor do we want to. So for me, I still get frustrated, but I know what to do with it now. Rather than seeing frustration as this annoying thing, like where I'm like, oh my God, I used to be like, I don't have time to be frustrated. I want to be doing other things. I don't have time for this. I don't want to sit in this energy. So I'm just gonna, you know, put it under the rug and never deal with it. What happens then is it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The almost like, I always see it like, okay, our auras are wanting to flow, and if there's something like stuck there, it's getting in the way of that flow. So the longer it's there, it's just going to grow and it's just going to expand. And then your energy is going to be completely drained, completely depleted. This is when we burn out. This is when we are depressed and we're exhausted and we can't function in life because our energy is just not moving. It's not flowing the way it's supposed to. And let me tell you, your energy is supposed to be in flow. It can be in flow. We are not here to be stuck. That is not our sentence in life. We are here to experience life. We're here to jump into abundance and live. And so when we are feeling those feelings of stuck or our not self theme is presenting itself, so again, it's bitterness, disappointment, anger, frustration, you're going to be familiar with your feeling. When that is showing up, it is an opportunity for you to zoom out. This is what I always say, just like observe it. It's not so black and white, right? Like, so we don't have to, if we're wake up one day and like, I'm frustrated by my job, we don't have to quit. That's not what I'm saying. We have to be aware. We have to observe where this energy is showing up and what it is revealing. So when we actually observe it and we give it the space to breathe, it's going to pinpoint and let us know what it is that is frustrating our energy. So again, when these feelings come up, allow yourself to zoom out. Look at what is it in particular that is frustrating my energy. Sometimes it can be very fleeting. It can just be momentary that there is like some frustration moving through you, but it doesn't stick because whatever it is that is giving you frustration is not something that hangs around. But what we have to be careful of is when that feeling comes up in a big part of our life and it is consistent, it is a consistent feeling. So if you are using the example of Salvador, Salvador is a manifesting generator. Manifesting generators, we have big auras. We are fast. We literally, we energetically, we feel like we don't have time to be stuck. And it's also very restrictive, especially like I feel on a manifesting generator because manifesting generators are the expanders, it's like they kind of they want to fly, they want to be free, they want to be unrestricted. And when there are things that are putting those sort of molds around them and restricting them, it's like my mom would always say to me when I was a kid, if anything like that was sort of, if I was ever feeling in restriction or anything, she would say, oh, like your wings have been clipped. And I often like think about this and refer this, like I'm like, my mom knew I was a manifesting generator on some level. She knew that I was someone who was just an expansive person and, that my spirit needed to sort of run free. And so when there were situations that made me feel stuck, I couldn't, like, it was almost like I couldn't be myself. Exactly what our not self theme is. It is not letting you be yourself. And so what's important, as they say, is look for where that is showing up consistently and how it is showing up. If it is deeply affecting your life and you are in this constant state of frustration, of bitterness, of anger, of disappointment, you need to look at that in a big way. And you need to see that as an opportunity for a quantum leap. So, what I do want to remind you is when it comes to our not self theme, it's not a bad thing. Please do not see it as a bad thing. It is a great thing because think about it. Your soul is constantly giving you these nudges and these signals in the direction that it wants you to go, that is that is where the direction or the path that you're going to take that is going to allow you to meet that future version of yourself that you're so excited to meet. And what we have to do is we have to listen, we have to allow, we have to observe. And I know it's not a comfortable feeling. It's not something we want to deal with. I don't want to feel frustrated. But actually, we have to reframe how we see that frustration, that bitterness, that anger, that disappointment. We have to start seeing it as a really good thing. This was a great reframe that I made in my own life. So whenever I am frustrated now, I go, oh, okay, what is it that's frustrating me? Because it's actually giving me intelligence on the direction that I want to move in. And I think that is super powerful. And it's kind of like, your soul or is not going to make you just feel good all the time. If we felt good all the time, we would just never move, right? And so your soul is going to give you these nudges that feel uncomfortable, but they feel uncomfortable because they're going to take you somewhere that you've never been before. And newness is uncomfortable. None of us like newness until we're settled in it. And so it's really, really important that you give that feeling your attention, that you allow that feeling to be heard, to be acknowledged, and have the courage to take action on that feeling if it is consistent. So, for example, I use this feeling in my business all the time because I want my business to flow. My business is an extension of myself. I want it to flow. I want it to be in that, in my signature theme. That's what I want to feel in my work, in my relationships, everything, right? And so, in order to get myself to my signature theme, so our signature themes are satisfaction for generators and manifesting generators, peace for manifestors, success for projectors, and surprise or delight for reflectors. So if I want to get into that feeling more, I've got to balance the scales. Like I have to look at the duality of that feeling as well. And I have to pay attention to that because that's going to allow me to outweigh. And so I do what I like to call an energetic audit. I do this in my business. I do this in different parts of my life. And it is where I can write down the things, the places where I'm spending my energy. And I can look at, okay, how much is this frustrating me? How much satisfaction is this bringing to me? And when you do that, you can get super clear and super connected to what it is that is making you feel stuck. And okay, this is like almost like a trivial way to use it because if we're not consciously feeling that feeling, then, we're not that stuck. We're not stuck yet. We're just feeling whatever. But this is a good way for you to get very clear on your direction and to understand where your energy wants to go, right? And so when it comes to feeling stuck, I really, really, really want to encourage you to look at this part of your design. What is it that is frustrating your energy? How can you zoom out and use the intelligence of, pinpoint what it is, and have the courage to change things. I know, again, it's very hard for us to change things sometimes. And this is sometimes where I get really I find it hard with my not self theme because sometimes there can be things that frustrate me and I really wish they didn't. I wish that I was excited by them because you know what? If I was, things would be so much easier. But again, it's kind of like if we want that life that we've never had before, we have to do the things that we've never done. And that takes courage and trust in ourselves. But what you have to understand, and I think this is the essence of this message, is your soul knows where it's going. your soul wants to see you win. And so it is not going to guide you to places, to people, to whatever that are not taking you closer to the future you want to live. It's just not going to happen. You know, maybe you'll call me delusional for this. I don't care. Like, it's just not going to happen. And where we get so stuck is we let our mind take control. We know what our body is feeling. We know that how our body is reacting to something, and we find it hard to listen. And the reason for this is like, your mind is just literally wired to keep you safe. And so when we are stuck, we are almost like in this survival mode. This is where the mind comes in. And, it will talk you out of things. It'll be like, oh, you can't do that. That's not where you wanted to go, or this, that, whatever. And so this is also where it is helpful for your decision-making authority to come in and make an appearance, because your decision-making authority, so what I always say is it's like your not self theme and your signature theme, they are sort of like the doorways towards new paths, or the almost like the path up to the doorway. And your decision making authority is the key to that door. So it's kind of like, your frustration or your satisfaction or whatever yours is, it's going to lead you to that door. And your decision making authority, it's going to open that door, right? So, okay, for Salvador, you are, as I said, a manifesting generator. And you're not supposed to feel stuck. Like any kind of generator, you're supposed to generate energy. You're supposed to keep things moving. And, as I said, when you are stuck, it means that that energy is not moving. It's not flowing. And that is where you feel frustrated. And it's sometimes as well where we feel like there's no way out. Now, what I would say is your decision-making authority is sacral. So it's all about going with your gut. So you need to connect with your physical body, because your physical body is literally going to align you and tell you what key to use, And so listen for the cues. Listen to things that come in your path and allow yourself to say no or allow yourself to say yes in the moment. What I can see from your chart is you have a fully defined head centers. So your crown and your ajna are both defined. What that creates is sometimes it creates a kind of a dependency on the mind, because naturally you're going to sort of sway into logic. You're going to naturally feel kind of at home in your mind. And sometimes, and great, there are qualities and greatness that lives in that, and that can be channeled in a certain way and used to your advantage, of course. But when it comes to decision making, that's not one of the places that should be used, And so I can see when it comes to your body is telling you, like, this relationship isn't it, this, career isn't it, but something is stopping you from listening to your body and making the changes. And often that is when I see this combination of a sacral authority with fully defined head centers. It's like you're too up in your mind. You're overthinking things. You are like actually letting your mind rule and be the authority. And it's not, it's kind of, as I said, the mind is literally wired to keep you safe. And so what the mind does when it comes to decisions, it is going to literally make decisions based on what it knows or what it has seen before. So if your inner world is calling you to expansion, it is calling you to dive into and go down paths, routes, roads that have never been taken by you, or you've never seen anybody else take them, your mind is going to go into like survival mode. It's going to be like, I've never been there before, never seen it done, it's not going to happen. And it's going to really essentially like restrict that courage. And what I want to encourage you to do is start like listening to that frustration. I think if you're asking, questions about feeling stuck and giving examples of where you feel stuck, it is literally that is your answer. I think we don't ask questions about things that we don't already feel. And so what I would say, and part of Salvador's question as well was about purpose. I have a whole video, I think it was my first video about purpose and specifically manifesting generators that would be really, really helpful for you to go back and check out. But purpose doesn't arrive in this great big box. Purpose arrives little by little. But if you are so stuck in your life and you're cramming your life with things that just don't light your soul up and don't give you energy, it's almost like you're going to miss those things. And so sometimes when it comes to discovering our purpose, we kind of have to dismantle the things that don't give us that feeling. Sometimes that's exactly where we need to start so we can have that clean slate and we can start to respond to what the universe, God, and life is putting in our path. That is what we need to do sometimes. And so, what I want to really encourage you to do, again, this is a very personal experience for you. And I'm not here to, you know, give you like straight talking directions. But if you are feeling consistently stuck in your life and you are constantly feeling frustrated and like more connected to your not self theme than your signature, it's usually a signal that big changes need to be made. And I want to empower you to believe that you have the potential to make those quantum leaps, that they are not out of your reach. And sure, when we make changes, it's so scary. It can be so uncomfortable. Your mind might get involved quite a lot and try to talk you out of it, but you've got to develop a trust so deep with your body, with your soul, that you know that it's telling you something. It is trying to get your attention. And the most important thing that you can do is acknowledge it, listen to it, and create aligned action. I think so many of us can't listen to the whispers of our soul, that we end up living lives that make us feel stuck, disempowered, uninspired, and we have like a lack of abundance. And honestly, like I just think about it sometimes. I think we're just like not put here to feel those things. We want to look at our life at the end and say, I squeezed everything out of it. And, I think we regret the things we don't do more than the things that we do. And so really just empowering yourself to have the courage to listen. I do say sometimes, and I know this is what works for me, I'm an emotional authority as well. So I have to give myself a little bit of grace and space to really feel into, is that what's really frustrating me? But like, I I kind of like I observe it. I give it a little bit of time. If it's big, big decisions, I kind of give it a little bit of time before I make these radical changes. Like I try not to give in to impulse so much because I know as manifesting generators, like we can kind of do that. We can be like, oh, okay, this is frustrating me. I'm out. It's not about that. Although sometimes that is required, but it's kind of if over time this is like a consistent source of frustration or whatever your not self theme is, if you're feeling it consistently, it's trying to get your attention. It's trying to get you to move. We're not here to be stuck. We're here to expand. We're here to live. We're here to, have a good life, and I think the more that we reject listening to our body, the more out of control of our life and the more stuck that we feel. And so, yeah, I just want to empower you, all of you, if you are feeling your not self theme super consistently in life, it doesn't have to be that way. It really, really doesn't. And, I can tell you, I have, I actually, I went to a business conference a couple of weeks ago, and Stephen Bartlett was talking. And there was Stephen Bartlett, Richard Branson, like all of these like incredible entrepreneurs. And something they all said was they had a great ability to listening to their inner voice. And Stephen Bartlett reframed it like this. He said, "I'm really good at quitting." And I'm like, "What? Like that sounds crazy. We shouldn't be good at quitting, right?" He said, and he expanded on that and he said, if I'm in a place where I don't feel like it's working, it is misaligned for me, or I am putting my energy where it's not appreciated, wanted, or whatever, I'm very good at quitting that and moving on to the next thing. And I think this is such an important point because some people, they can stay in something completely miserable for 10, 15 years just because it logically makes sense. But when you actually zoom out from that and you look at that at the end of your life, it doesn't make logical sense then, right? And this is the beauty of listening to your inner authority, to listening to your body, because it knows things that you don't know. And so, what about if you reframe it like this? What if and this goes for everybody, not just this particular question and circumstance of this person, but if you're in a relationship, a job, or a situation that is not fueling you, not fulfilling you, just not vibing with who you are and where you want to go to, what if you could already see what was on the other side of that? What if you could see the joy, the satisfaction, the abundance that lived on the other side, and all you needed to do was take a leap. All you needed to do was jump. I bet you jump really, really fast. And that's the thing that comes with trusting your inner authority and trusting your soul, trusting the guidance of yourself. Your body knows you so well. It knows you so well. And it was here before your soul was. And so give yourself a chance, embody that courage, take a leap, trust yourself, believe yourself, because you can do it. That's why your soul is giving you the nudges, because it's already there. It already sees the result. But your mind, it needs time to catch up. And whew, wow, that was like a channeled message. Um, this is what, literally, for me, I've kind of always been, for me, is this has been the power of understanding my human design and putting it into practice, because I can trust myself and my body so much that I know when I don't want to do something. I know when I do want to do something. I mean, I'm not perfect. I don't always follow through with that, right? But I have high awareness. So I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I'm not going to stay in something longer than, is expired, and this is what we have to get comfortable with. And so if you want to understand the depth of your human design and the integration tools that can help you deepen your self-trust and belief in yourself so you can start feeling unstuck, feeling clear, and living life according to you. My forever readings are available, and you can tune in to what works for you and how you can listen to that more and basically create a reality that you love. This is what this information is about. And for me, you guys should know by now, I am a practical girly. Like, I love how can I implement this information and actually use it in a practical way to serve me in my life. And the more that we do this, the more that we get acquainted with our awareness and the more that we practice it, the stronger it becomes and the more unconscious it becomes. So it's not just a um, something that we know and we have to think about. It just starts coming natural, and that's where we want to get to. And this is how this information helped me and helped thousands of clients I've worked with as well. So click the link below, find out more. And if you have any questions, we've got a comment section right here, and I'm in it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you gain something from this, whether it be empowerment, excitement, or specific tools that help you get into that trust with yourself. This is what we're all about in Human Design Hotline. We're here to hang up on doubt and answer the call within. And I've really enjoyed chatting with you today, and I will see you next time.